Hello, everybody. Welcome to a new episode on AZ Security. My name is Dinan Paardenkoper. I'm a cloud security architect at IT Impressive. And for today, we have a new topic, which is called secure coding, guardrails for your PowerShell. And today I have a special guest, and that is Bas. Bas, can you introduce yourself, please?
My name is Bas Wijdenes. I'm from the Netherlands. I live in Heerhugowaard. I have one kid, 3 years old, and I got one on the way. 10 more weeks, and then we got a second child.
Oh, exciting news!
Yeah, very exciting. Yeah, I can't wait. I currently work at InSpark. I'm a PowerShell automation engineer, and I'm an MVP for around 5 years.
Wow, 5 years already. That's quite some time.
Yeah.
And we were on the MVP Summit this year.
Yes, that's where we met.
Yeah, it was quite awesome. It's very, very big, very huge. A lot of information. How was your experience?
Yeah, like you said, it was huge. A lot of people, a lot of new stuff, a lot of NDA stuff, a lot of new experiences, a lot of beer. Yeah, I had a good time. Yeah.
Me too.
Met a lot of new people, great people. Yeah.
Yeah, it was amazing time. But for today, secure coding. Tell us more.
Yeah, so you asked me if I wanted to join your podcast and think of something myself. So I came up with secure coding. I work with mostly with PowerShell. I do a lot of automation for a lot of enterprise customers. We go from a simple file to an enterprise environment and everything in between. So yeah, I want to show some stuff to people to secure your coding, and not only to prevent yourself from being hacked or hackers, but also from your own scripts and your own automation.
Awesome. I would say take it away.
So yeah, secure PowerShell, 4 guardrails for your PowerShell scripts. I've got 4 pillars, but there are probably more pillars. So maybe there's a second podcast for more pillars.
You're always welcome.
I've got one. Yeah, I got one for the input validation. I'll go through fail-safe defaults. I've got one for secrets management, and I got the principle of least privilege. So I'll start with pillar 1, the input validation. The main goal is that you never trust the input, even if it comes from your own script. So like, you've got an automation running, different pipelines, different modules, PowerShell modules or whatever. You've got different functions calling each other. You should, even for your own module, your private or your public commandlets, you need guardrails. You need stuff like to validate if it's not null or empty. You can validate on the pattern. You can validate if you can create mandatory parameters. It's important to use stuff like that for secure coding practices. I can show you an example. Let me share my screen with you. All right. So I've got one for a bad remove resource group, and I got one for a good remove resource group. It's easy to understand. Let's start with the bad one. I've got one bad example is there's no mandatory, there's no validation, there's no type narrowing. So if we run this, if we get this function and we start running remove the resource group null, it won't check on any validation. It doesn't need it per se. I use the Graph API for this one, the Azure Graph API. I do that because otherwise the resource group has built-in stuff to not let it happening. But many people like me use APIs instead of commandlets, the native commandlets, because the native commandlets, they don't just do the get or the call, they do a lot of more stuff. So if you get the new asset deployment commandlet, it does it creates the deployment, but it also does the validation, and it starts doing more stuff. I just want to create a deployment. I do not want the other stuff unless I explicitly say it. I want it. So this is an example how I could do it. So let's say I run this function with the resource group null. It will actually tell me, it will just simply remove all the resource groups I have in Azure. The same if it's an empty variable, and even when it's when it's a part of the resource group name, because we use a start with here, it will try to delete more than you expect. So only if the name is the full name, it will actually try to delete the one that you wanted. I turned it off to actually remove the resource group, so I'm just using a right host in the commands instead.
Okay.
If we go to the good one, the good and the bad, I will show you. You can see we got commandlet binding, we got the support should process and confirm impact high. This means that if you try to run this function without a what if or without a confirm, it will fail, or it will ask you for confirmation with a yes or a no. And the support should process, you can add a what if, and with the what if, you can actually see what it will try to do without actually doing it. But you need to configure that correctly. So if I've got the what if on, like this one, it will actually jump to this part. I'll just explain the function, all right? So we'll go through the function. You've got everything. We've got the resource group names. We've got the query, the same query as the bad one. We search for the resource group. We got the for each loop. And we'll go through each resource group that's in this array. And then we'll get to the should process. And if the should process is either the confirmation or a what if, it will do something with this. So if it's a confirmation, it will simply ask you a yes or no. Do you want to remove this resource group? If you use a what if, it will simply hide this so you can also delete the resource group. It pretends as if it will delete the resource group. Is this fail safe? Not really, because this is text. I could write get resource group here, and you think with only getting a resource group, but it's a part of your secure coding. So if we go back to the parameters and you see the parameter mandatory, that means that the resource group needs a value. So we can't say null or empty or whatever, it will fail on that. And I added a validate pattern. The validate pattern is based on what you see above. We need the resource group RG with a hyphen and stuff like this. It's not the complete Cloud Adoption Framework name because it's a simple demo, but it will do the trick. And I forgot this one. We need to validate if it's not null or empty, because an array or whatever can always be can still be empty or no. So let me get this function in memory, and then if I call the remove demo resource group, if I call the function, it should ask for the resource group name. You can still write in the resource group name, type in. If I call a resource group name null, it will fail, because it will tell us now, because it's not the validate pattern. But let me comment that out and show you the correct message. It will tell us it's not allowed to be null or empty.
Nice.
The same for an empty one, of course. So you got a null and you got an empty one, which actually means null is null, and an empty one could be an empty array, for example. Or even, I don't know if that works. I'm not sure about that, but it could be like this. All right.
So basically, you have built-in protection mechanisms, the mandatory, the validation, the validate pattern, and it should not be empty.
We got a mandatory, we got a validate, we got a validate pattern, and support should process.
Yes.
But and we also have the set strict mode. This one is a special one. I got this in every function you'll see today, but it's scoped. So normally you could just scope this at the highest scope as you want. But because I run every function separately, I'll just scope it in the function, because the one needs to be the latest one, the one needs to be turned off for the bad ones or whatever. But set strict mode is, it will check on, for example, if it gets the resource group, and instead of the RG name, I accidentally write this out as a name R. Write it out like this. It will actually tell me that this is not a property on the resource group, so I can't use this. And it will error out. It enforces coding rules.
Exactly.
That's what it does. But it's not, I don't want to say that you need to use this always, because sometimes you want to just give it a try if it's there or not, and you need to continue. So it's not that I tell you to use all of these mechanisms, but I'm just trying to show you what we've got, what you can use. So most of the time, to be honest, in a true PowerShell automation environment with pipelines and stuff, you don't need this one. It's not necessary. You don't need to confirm. You don't need the what if. Maybe the what if, but you don't need to confirm because you need a manager identity running the script. So it's not necessary. Mandatory is always important because it can be not mandatory, but then you need the default value. Because if it's mandatory and it's missing, the script will simply stop. It's one of your truly guardrails to block out stuff to stop your script from doing stuff you don't want it to do. And that's the same for the validate, not null or empty. If it's dangerous to let it run without this or without that. Those two are the two most important ones. This one can be important for when you write scripts from scratch like this. But as soon as it's in a PowerShell, it's some sort of automation pipeline or orchestrator, if it's all correct, you should have tested it already or got your dev running or whatever. So it's not the most important one, but it's one of those things not a lot of people know about.
Yeah.
There is one more that's also an important one. So I run the function, I got all those mechanisms, and we've got the query, and the query gets all the resource groups. And then this one is an important one. If something is wrong, if we should always have a resource group in this variable, and if we test it with the resource groups count equals 0, there's something off. You need to stop the script. So this one is really, really an important one. Also with, for example, for the subscriptions, what I told you guys, if it's empty, there's a problem. So you just need to call off your scripts and throw out an error or whatever. I got a right host to show people in the demo, but preferably I would just throw it out and let the script stop and do that. The 404, what I just explained, the resource group does not exist, nothing to do. If I run this one and this resource group does not exist, it will actually hit this part of the function. The count is 0, so we can write out a resource group. I'd prefer a throw if it's in an automation or an orchestrator. It's important to always check this, if this is correct. I'm not a fan of using the what if switch when I'm not sure if the module can handle that. So I like it when I created it myself.
Yeah, I heard this one also from my colleagues. It's great that there's a possibility to use it, but normally it isn't always supported in all the modules. And then you get strange errors back, like your script just stops functioning.
Yeah, or your resource is gone.
Yeah. Kind of that.
And yeah, this would be a good one. We would simply get the confirm message. If I check this one out, I run this, I get the perform the operation delete resource group on this target. If I say yes, I won't. I'll say no. But if I say yes, the resource group gets deleted and we get the right host. So yeah, I can say yes, deleted the resource group. If I want to block out If I want to block out the confirm, you can use the confirm with false. Why would the confirm be there in your custom modules? Maybe if you use it for day-to-day management and in automations, it'd be a good thing, but it's up to you to use whatever you want. So those things are not mandatory together, but use them at the right time. That's what I'm trying to tell you here.
Right.
All right. That is the first pillar, the input validation. So I want to go to the second pillar now. And the second pillar is the fail-safe defaults. The fail-safe defaults is if something goes wrong, the system stays in the most secure state. Part of combining input, errors, action, preference, the try and catch, and support should process on destructive functions. A typo in a property name should crash the script, not silently return a null and let it continue. Is that clear?
Yes, I'm familiar with that, but maybe you can show the audience how it works.
So I got a bad cleanup tagged resource groups script again, and I got a good cleanup tagged resource groups again. I will keep this one shorter because a lot of things come back in those scripts. If you see the set strict mode is off again, that's because I run different functions in one. I got the remove daemon tagged resource group. There is no commandlet binding, no support should process, no strict mode, no validation. And it will simply try to do whatever it can. So let's just go through this. Did I call this one in? Yeah. Let me try it. If a prefix is null, it will simply go through this and it will tell you I'm all done. I finished the script. It's all done. But as you can see, I built in a write host, and write host didn't run, so it didn't do anything. And if I go to the tag key and I write out a different tag key that with a typo, it will also tell me all done. Well, you want a script, if it's not all done, if it didn't do anything, you want it to return that it didn't do anything. So if we go to the good clean up tagged resource groups, let me just get this in memory. I will go through it again. The support should process, I already explained. The validate not null or empty, and validate not null or empty on the tag key. Not mandatory. Mandatory is not necessary when you should not use mandatory if there's our default values. I got the strict mode back, and I got the error action preference on stop. I got a resource. I got the get AZ resource. Is that the same as this? Use aware object. Yeah, it's practically the same. So this one will, let me check. I also have the if there's no resource group stop. And if we'll loop through each resource again, and we have to should process. So let me just try this one. I got nothing in my prefix, and it will actually tell me you can't continue because there's nothing in your prefix. Same for the tag key. Not going to show it. I'm going to show it quickly. But also the typo. If I run the typo, it will actually tell me, hey, there's no matching resource group found for this prefix. And if I run a prefix with something that doesn't exist, it's practically the same. It will also tell the same error. And with this what if, it will tell you it's all done. And if I run it without the what if, it will actually ask me for confirmation. I can run it because I got the right host instead of the remove Azure resource group. And as you can see, got the deleting residue, and we got a second one, and that's it. And it tells you all done. So it actually did something, and it will only tell you it did something when it actually continued this part. So we got the return, we got the throw, and we got the validate not null or empty, which means it will never reach this part to tell you all done. And normally this would be, for example, an object you return with or an array with the resource groups. But I use write host as an example. That's great. So that's the pillar 2, the fill save defaults, which actually means make sure that whatever you tell your script to do, it actually does, or it returns something in a way like, yeah, I didn't do it. Maybe the warning is sufficient. I couldn't find any resource groups. Okay, then continue. Maybe I didn't create any test resource groups that day or whatever, but at least I know what it did.
Yes.
And it didn't tell me all done. Yeah, it could tell you all done if you keep the right warning here. Of course, we can remove the return, but you understand what I mean. So let's continue with pillar 3, secrets management.
Oh, that's
it's the one. Yeah, that's the one. It's one that I like. The main goal everyone has is to never expose credentials, never expose tokens or connection strings or whatever. We want to get secrets from. This is Azure, so let's keep it on Azure Key Vault. We want to authenticate with a managed identity. All that's secure coding. So don't use plain text stuff in your PowerShell scripts, even when you're testing it locally. I know it's easy to do and quick, but trust me, it's better to use a key vault. And I'll show you why. We've got the bad hard-coded secret function or script. It's not a function anymore. I've got the API key, a fake API key, and I run a write host calling a fake API with an API example. If I run this, so I have to get the API key in my memory. and run this. I say call faking API with key, blah, blah, blah. You think that your local device is safe using exposed secrets, but it's actually not. And I'll show you. If your device has any malware on it or any other stuff, this can get you in trouble real quick. So if I get the script, what hackers can do is go loop through all your files and all your stuff and just search for specific strings of regexes to see if you've got connection strings or keys. So I'll show you with this one. This is the script, the bad hard-coded secret, and I'll do a get content on it. If I select the string with just skk live, you'll see that it will easily find the information from my script. And this is all I need to run. It's that easy. But it's even worse because I got the key in my memory as soon as I do this. And if I check the content of the history save pod, Visual Studio Code or PowerShell both have their host history saved, and those can be extremely long. But a key like this will be saved to that as well as plain text. So if I get the content of that host file and I tail it to 2, it will get 2 rows, the newest rows. So if I do get content, you'll see the key here. And to show you what it really is, I'll show you the file location. If you get PS read line option history save pod, if you run that in your terminal, you'll see the path to the Visual Studio Code history. I got it here for you. And if I scroll down, which I already did, you see the key here. It's clearly there, but if you see the rows that I've got, it goes back so long, you don't want to know. I see stuff here from a really long time ago because you log in with your stuff on Visual Studio Code and it will just reuse your app data. Let me check. Bad hardcoded. So you think it's all right, it's your local device, but I just want to make sure the script is saved in your OneDrive or in a Git repository and you push that. I'll show you. This is the bad hard-coded secret, but I updated it quickly with the new one in my OneDrive, so you wouldn't see the key anymore. So you think you resolved the issue. This is the good one, the good key fault secret. But as I can show you, if I go to version history in OneDrive, for example, and I go to 2.1, there is the key again.
Yep.
So it's not even your device, but it can be your OneDrive or Google Drive or whatever drive you've got. And there's even a worse thing. Your Git repository. So I updated the bad hard-coded secret with the newest one again. But if I go to the history, where I created the secret file of the PowerShell script, it's there.
Yep.
And if you don't know, or if you forgot to remove it from your test file, and you push to Git or OneDrive, and later you're like, oh, I need to update that one. You update it, you remove it, but it's still there. And that's the important one. You can't update it from here. Of course, you can do stuff in Git, and of course you can do stuff in OneDrive, but you should just rotate your keys.
Yes.
It's really important to not have this in your local scripts or whatever. Just use as your key fault. And you'll be fine. I'll show you the good one, but I think a lot of people know what I mean. This is it's not a script. It's a script, it's not a function, but it will ask me for my fault name instantly. That one is mandatory. So let's say I try it with a null or empty key fault. It will still tell you the argument is null or empty. It's not usable. If I try the wrong key fault name, it will tell you no such host is known. That's because there is an area behind the key fault. Wrong secret, same issue. I get an error message, and let me check this one. This is a rerun. It fails on my API on this one. And in the end, if I'm done with it, you should dispose of your secret value in your memory. So it's not in one of your local files, but it's still in your device memory where you need to remove it from. As we did in the bad script, if we try the select string again and we check the pattern sklive, we'll get one match, and that's this row. but there's no secret or key or whatever in this script. You got any questions, Dinant?
No, so far so good. This is a known topic.
Yeah, it's a known topic, but also a very important one to repeat to a lot of people.
Definitely. I see still people make mistakes.
All right, that was pillar 3. I mean, if you know other stuff that you shouldn't do it, you see me doing, I'd love to hear it. But let's continue to pillar 4. The principle of least privilege. Most people know what I'm talking about, right? Your script should only have the permission it needs for a specific task. Do not use the GA on everything. Just use, don't let your code or your automation or your orchestrator have God mode in your tenant or in Azure. Or I'll just go through the bad overscoped graph. I'll show you not what it can do, because of course, if you've got the directory read write all or got the global admin, we all know what you can do, but you can actually see which token, if your token, what type of permission it has. So let's say I connect to the Graph API and I'll get the token from the Microsoft Graph API. This is my token, my JSON web token. Let's see, we've got the token. We need the payload of the token. The token is split in 3 parts: the header, the payload, and the signature. And then split it with a dot. And the second part is the payload. So if I just split it with the dot and just grab the second part, we get the payload in here. It's still a long string. That's fine. We needed it to be base 64, so we can check the claim. We can convert the claims from JSON from here. So if I show you this one, you can actually see all my claims in the payload. But let me check where it is, the SCP one. So this are all the permissions that I have, but I can show you with an easier one. Right host, the token scopes. And so with the connect graph, simply with my own account on my test environment, I get all these permissions, but also the directory read write all. Yeah, I don't need to explain too much of why we shouldn't use the global admin, but it's a really important one to not have your orchestrator be able to do everything, because also we spoke about removing stuff it shouldn't do, but removing stuff it shouldn't be allowed to do is even a worse one. So, but I'll leave that up to the viewer.
If I'm new to this topic, where to start?
For the whole topics, there are a few places to start. I can share some links with you, Dinant, and you can share it in the YouTube video.
I'll do that. Hey, Bas, thank you very much for your explanation. I think this is very useful. Thank you very much for your time, for your explanation and your demo. Would love to have you back when you have more pillars in the creation. Any last thoughts?
Thank you very much for having me. I had a fun time. I hope people like it. I hope people come up with more stuff. We can share some stuff, get to know people.
Let's do that. For everybody at home, I want to thank you for your time. Thank you for listening. If you have any thoughts, please leave them down below in the comments. And otherwise, till next time, take care.
Take care, guys.